Welcome to another episode of Culture 8 podcast brought to you by Izini, your trusted partner in building thriving workplace cultures. Here we explore the intricate and dynamic world of organization culture, uncovering insights and strategies to help leaders and teams foster environments where people and businesses can grow together. This episode of Culture 8 podcast is quite special. We are talking with Godfather of Angel Investing, Sig Mosley, managing partner of Mosley Ventures. Welcome, Sig. It's an absolute honor to host you on the podcast today.
Thank you. An honor to be here.
Thank you. So before we dive deep into your views and beliefs about organization culture, I would like to ask you a question to allow our audience to get to know you better. What was your very first job?
Well, my very first job was mowing grass. I used to mow up to 30 yards a week when I was in high school. Now, if you want my first real job, it was working in the Jasper Banking Company as an intern for 4 summers while I was in college.
Wow, very cool. That's awesome. So you started directly with the financial world.
Yes, I did. I was very lucky. The bank gave one internship a year to a senior, and I happened to win it, and I was the first male to win it.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let's move into the organization culture aspects of this podcast. How does an organization culture influence your decisions to invest in?
Well, culture is critical as it lays the foundation on how an organization operates, grows, and adopts over time. But at this stage, and I'm talking about the early stage, the culture is generally informal and heavily influenced by the founders and the early team members. And that in itself has an impact on whether or not I invest, is how I view the founders and the team.
Wow. That is very powerful. And you're right, absolutely. Leaders do bring the organization culture to the organization, and it's based on their basic assumptions, beliefs, and values that they bring to the table.
That is correct. And that you go even farther when you begin to think about the energy level, the passion, the agility, the flexibility, the ability to bring team members on and the right team members. So culture has a tremendous impact upon an early stage company and its ability to secure investors.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you. No, I believe 100% in the same aspects. Have you ever chosen not to invest in a company because of the culture red flags? And what were they?
Well, yes, I have. Because I have said no to a lot of people. You may remember even a Sig Said No t-shirt running around somewhere out there. The primary reason I have said no is because of the individual, the entrepreneur. He doesn't necessarily know how to employ the right people around him. Because you got to have the right people to make the good culture. You got to have the right people to build a good company. And if the entrepreneur doesn't seem to possess the ability to employ the right people, that is a no right there. And I have had that several times. Now, it can get even deeper, it depends on how you build culture within the organization, because if an entrepreneur is not coachable, then he had trouble building culture. Well, if he's not coachable, I don't want to invest in him.
Wow, that is definitely. I think about it that when the leader himself or herself is not coachable, how do we expect them to coach their team to even grow them?
That's right. And so that is a significant part of the culture that can have a great influence on its fundability.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you. So Startups often face challenges in preserving their culture while they scale. What is the advice that you would give founders to maintain a strong culture during growth?
Well, there are several things. One, you need to have flexibility and agility in your organization. Uh, you got to build team dynamics. You got to have open communications with the team. And you had to learn, you had to be aware of the growth that you're going through and what need to happen in the organization to make that growth work. Because you as the leader, the entrepreneur, is the one that has to guide it. And if
Yes.
you are missing it and just don't see it, then it won't happen.
Nice. That makes sense. I mean, to be aware of how the company is growing, where it's growing, and what is the future needs of to sustain that growth. I think that's
Right.
important.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And even to your previous point, I think I missed out saying it and it was in my head, was the fact that if you're hiring people, you need to have the right people. And to realize the most important fact, people are the true source of value being created in an organization.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can give you a great example there. I had a company I wound up investing in, and I probably shouldn't have because they had hired a VP of sales. And I met the guy, and in 2 minutes, I knew he was the wrong guy. I just, and significantly, 6 months later, he was gone.
Hmm. Yeah.
But that was just one of those things where I had already gotten so far down the road that I went ahead and made that investment. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for sharing that as well. That's a very
mhm.
powerful story. Um, I think that goes in hand in hand. So have you ever witnessed leadership significantly improve or damage a company's culture? And what lessons can be learned from that?
Well, a entrepreneur leader sets the culture. So if he can improve his culture, he can improve the culture of the organization. Now, that being said, if you have the open communication and don't have a lot of bureaucracy in your organization, then your team members who have maybe their own culture can help influence your culture. And you hope that that will be a positive influence and not a negative influence. Uh, I have seen both because you get some people who don't necessarily they get in there and then they don't believe, and so you don't have the right culture on how to align them with your culture, and you
Hmm.
let them, I won't say take over, but significantly influence the culture, then they can bring it to where it's not a positive as the leader may have it. But then that in itself showed that your entrepreneur didn't have the strong enough energy to maintain his culture.
That makes sense. Having a strong purpose, the North Star of the company, and aligning the folks in the team to continue to build and enforce that purpose and vision. I think that makes sense. Like, and leaders bring the culture, and everybody else also brings the culture. It's the company's vision that allows them to have that intrinsic motivation to go ahead and build it
Right.
and
But
move towards success.
again, you need to have open communication among
Yes.
everybody. If you don't have that open, and when I say open, it got to be open both ways. It got
Yes.
to go from the entrepreneur and then back, and that they had to be able to communicate properly. You know, you hope you don't, particularly at the early stage, you hope you don't create a bureaucracy of where
Yes.
people can't feel like they can communicate.
No, absolutely. And you've pointed out the fact that the company needs to be a very agile in their mindset in the way they grow. And the most important part, which I hear from you, is the communication. And that mainly is the idea of being open to different perspectives. This is the real main idea of DEI. It's not about just hiring anybody and anybody, but it's the fact is when you have people from different perspectives, include them in the inclusion as well as equity of the decision making of that organization so that everybody grows together.
Yes. In fact, they have been studies done by people like Forbes and McKinsey that show when you have a diversified workforce and if they are included at a real part of the company, that you have a significant better growth opportunity in that company.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And that's what I advise to my customers and my clients as well, that you have to be able to listen on to, I mean, the decision obviously is with the leadership, but then the leadership is not just limited to their myopic views, and they're actually using all the information available to them to make crucial decisions.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, as an investor, what role do you play in influencing the culture of the startups that you invest in?
Well, I think you influence it by whether or not you are an investor. Because if you are an investor, then you are saying that you have bought into the culture of the entrepreneur. You have bought into the culture of his ability to have good people around him. You have bought into his vision of where the company needs to go. So you continue to support that culture by being involved in the culture, where it being on a board or being an advisor or what it is. Now, that being said, if you see something that goes astray, sometimes entrepreneurs lose sight of their vision and so on, and you may have to help guide that individual back to a more competent vision, because my position is that when I make an investment, I'm investing in the team. I want
Yeah.
that team to make the decisions. Now, I will coach them. I will be on boards. I'll help review plans. I will interview people. I'll make introductions. But when it comes to the day-to-day building of that company, I want them to be the one making those decisions. Now, if I see they're going to fall off a cliff somewhere, I will pull them back in. But I don't go in to operate the company. Therefore, I don't become a part of the day-to-day culture that they
Right.
have.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I like that. And it ties to your question or your thought about leaders should be coachable, right? And
Yeah.
they should be able to view from the investor's perspective, you're really going down a cliff. Hey, let's come back, let's pull back and
Right.
revisit where we are.
Yes.
Thank you. In your experience, do organizations with strong cultures tend to have better long-term outcomes compared to those without?
Well, you got to remember, all companies have culture.
Yes.
And the level of good culture varies by the individuals involved. Uh, I think the more public the culture that people from outside can see, I think that helped them grow and continue. Because I think our company here, Mindspring, it used to be here, now called Earthlink, Charles Brewer was the founder and CEO. He even had a set of values put up on his wall in his office that everybody could see every day. Customers, vendor, it didn't matter who. So, and that company did very well. So I think it helped that you can articulate your culture outside of the organization to your vendors, your customers, and so on. And the better you can do that, I think the more value it has.
Very nice, very nice. And I'm saying this is because I have this book called Organization, Cultures, and Leadership by Edgar Sheehan, and he's a notable authority on organization culture. And he talks about culture as the artifacts, the espoused beliefs and values, and then the basic assumptions in the company. So these are the three aspects of the customer. And artifacts is the one where he talks about that is something that you can hear, feel, and see. So like the technology, the buildings, the architecture, the manner of dressing, the manner of addressing each other, all of that is the one that is experienced by, like you said, the customers, the people, the investors,
Yeah.
all the other stakeholders, the community stakeholders.
Right. Yes, it is.
Fantastic. Thank you. One last serious question, and then we jump into rapid fire. What culture trends have you noticed in startups over the years, especially in the Atlanta ecosystem?
Uh, well, I think communications have been one that entrepreneurs they have gotten better over the years at communicating. They have gotten better at forming teams that will communicate well together.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that all come back. I think traceability had happened because you had to remember when I began doing there was no internet.
Yes.
Uh, you know, so the internet changed a lot of the way people were able to communicate and the way they were to function and do research and do everything. So entrepreneurs have been very good about adjusting their culture to the environment. You look at AI today. AI is going to have a significant impact on entrepreneurs, their companies, and the culture that is in that company. And so I think we have done a good job at moving and keeping up.
No, that's 100% true. Communication increases collaboration.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so time for some rapid fire questions. What book do you recommend the most?
Well, I don't recommend many books, but I have one here called Venture Mart. It is in a series of books that Clint Richardson had published over the years. I also have The Art of Networking that is by Ricky Flill. He had put out the third version of that. And then I highly recommend reading some non-technical books. I like James Patterson, Tom Clancy,
Huh.
John Grissom. I When I read that, what I like to read because I read the Wall Street Journal every day, and
Nice,
then I read my fiction books.
nice, fantastic. Well, do you like any science fiction?
No,
No?
I'm that's just not my cup of tea.
Gotcha, thank you. Appreciate that honesty. All right, what's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
Well, they'd probably be surprised that I began driving at age 14 without a license. And the little town I grew up in, the chief of police told me, well, just stay inside the city limits and we'll we'll keep an eye on you.
That is awesome. And do you know what? We actually share that situation, or rather, I was in Nigeria and I was 14 years old and I started driving illegally. I even had a Nigerian license over there. My dad got me through,
Uh,
how Nigeria.
I never got the license.
That's awesome. Thank you. Um, I'm sure everybody is aware of it, but how can our listeners connect with you? The easiest way.
But the easiest way is to email me at sig@mosleyventures.com. I do my own emails. I don't have an admin or anything. And so that is the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sig. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you host you on my podcast today. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Same. There you have it, folks. Another episode. Thank you so much.